You believe murder is objectively wrong. Not just wrong for you, actually wrong. But if atheism is true, that belief is a delusion. It's just brain chemistry, no different than your preference for chocolate over vanilla. By the end of this video, you'll see why atheism cannot escape this problem, and why the most intellectually honest atheists admit it. Let's start with something everyone agrees on. The Holocaust was evil. Not I personally dislike genocide, not it violated social norms. It was objectively, absolutely, undeniably evil. Even if every single person on Earth had agreed with Hitler, it still would have been wrong. That's what we mean by objective morality. Now, here's the question. Where does that come from? If atheism is true, you're just atoms. Rearranged stardust, the product of mindless evolution, optimizing for survival. So when you say murder is wrong, what are you really saying? That certain chemical reactions in your brain fire when you see violence. Because that's all morality can be in a materialist worldview: biological programming, evolutionary instinct, useful fiction. But here's the problem. You don't actually believe that. When you see a child abused, you don't think that violates my evolutionary programming. You think that is evil and should be stopped. You're making an objective claim about reality, independent of opinion. But where does that objectivity come from in a universe of just matter and motion? The atheist philosopher Michael Ruse admitted this. He said, "Morality is just an aid to survival and reproduction. Any deeper meaning is illusory." He's being honest. If atheism is true, there is no moral law written into the fabric of reality. There's just survival instinct dressed up as ethics. So the atheist faces a choice. Either admit that morality is subjective and Hitler wasn't objectively wrong, or admit that objective morality exists and requires a transcendent foundation. Most atheists won't take the first option because it's unlivable. Imagine standing in a courtroom. The defendant says, "I didn't do anything wrong. Morality is subjective. Rape is just my personal preference." You'd reject that instantly, because deep down, you know some things are really, actually, objectively wrong. But that intuition is a problem for atheism, because it points to something beyond biology. Now let's test this. Can you ground objective morality without God? Some atheists say, we don't need God. We have reason. We can figure out ethics through logic and empathy, okay? But that just pushes the question back. Why should you be logical? Why should you care about other people's suffering? If survival is the ultimate goal, sometimes rape and murder are evolutionarily advantageous. Alpha males throughout history passed on their genes through violence. So why is that wrong? Because it causes suffering. But why does suffering matter in a godless universe? You can say I don't like suffering, but that's subjective. That's just your preference. It's not a moral law. Others say society decides what's moral. We create ethics through consensus, but that's moral relativism, and it collapses immediately. Because if society determines morality, then Nazi Germany wasn't wrong. Slavery in the American South wasn't wrong. They were just following their society's agreed-upon values. You don't believe that? When you condemn those societies, you're appealing to a standard above culture. But where does that standard exist in atheism? It doesn't. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. If atheism is true, you have no grounds to condemn anything. You can say, I don't like it. But you can't say it's wrong, because wrong implies a standard, and standards require a lawgiver. Now pause for a second. Which worldview actually fits reality? Comment below. I read every one. Here's the final piece. Christianity provides what atheism cannot: a transcendent foundation for objective morality. If God exists, sempiternal, unchanging, perfectly good being, then morality is grounded in his nature. Murder is wrong because it violates the character of God. That's not arbitrary. It's not subjective. It's woven into the fabric of reality itself. And here's the evidence. You already live like this is true. When you say that's wrong, you're not describing your feelings. You're describing reality. You're pointing to a moral law that transcends culture, time, and opinion. But moral laws require a moral lawgiver, just like physical laws require a physical lawgiver. You can reject Christianity, but you'll need to explain where objective morality comes from. And so far, no atheist has succeeded. The most intellectually honest atheists admit this. Nietzsche said, if God is dead, there are no objective values. Everything is permitted. He wasn't celebrating that, he was warning about it. So here's the question you need to answer. Can you live consistently as an atheist? Can you really believe that morality is just a useful illusion? Or does your own moral intuition point to something beyond the material world? New videos every week tackling questions like this. Subscribe if you want to think deeply,